Xavier had come that day to meet Rose's mother, but she was not at home. Seeing the opportunity, Xavier tried to get closer to Livia. Livia stepped back at first, but after Xavier's repeated attempts, she slowly came closer to him. Soon, a deep connection began to form between them. But the truth was that Xavier was actually in love with Rose's mother, and he was soon going to marry her. He had met Rose's mother for the first time at a party. Many people were gathered there, and Xavier was also attending the same party. Suddenly, Xavier noticed two women talking to each other. One of them was so beautiful that she instantly caught his attention. The beautiful woman's name was Livia. When Xavier approached her to talk, he recognized her as soon as he saw her closely. In fact, Xavier and Livia had studied at the same school. Their friendship went back many years. After a while, Livia's friend left for some other work, and Xavier began asking Livia how she had been. During their conversation, Livia told him that her husband had died 5 years ago, and that she was now raising her daughter alone. They continued talking about different things and eventually exchanged phone numbers. Just then, Livia's friend returned. Xavier felt that they would not be able to talk freely anymore, so he politely took Livia's permission and left. After he left, Livia's friend asked her, "Were you two lovers before?" Livia denied it. Her friend then said, "This man seems good for you. You both would make a great couple." The next day, Livia received a call from Xavier. He asked if she would mind if he came to her house that day. Hearing this made Livia very happy, and she quickly started getting ready. Even though Livia was no longer very young, she still felt young at heart. Livia's daughter's name was Rose. Livia told her that Xavier was coming over. It had been many years since a guest had visited their house, so both mother and daughter were happy. Rose was around 20 years old and studied in college. She didn't want to go to college that day because Xavier was coming, but Livia insisted. She promised Rose a gift, and happily, Rose left for college. After some time, Xavier arrived at Livia's house. They were alone at home. As Livia was about to go make tea, Xavier stopped her. He had liked Livia since childhood, and seeing the moment, he moved closer to her. That night, Livia's friend came over to ask if things had moved forward between Livia and Xavier. Livia didn't want to tell her everything. After trying for a while and getting no answer, her friend decided to leave. Just then, Rose came in complaining about the bed because she felt sleepy. Livia took her to the bedroom and put her to sleep quickly. Once Rose fell asleep, Livia called Xavier and invited him back to her house. He asked about Rose. Livia told him that she was asleep. Once again, they got the chance to be close and clear the silence between them. The next morning, Rose went to wake her mother because she was still sleeping. Rose told her that a man was outside to meet her. Rose then noticed the locket Xavier had given her mother. Livia distracted her and quickly got ready to meet Xavier. But this time, Xavier had come to meet Rose. Rose was with her friend Noah. The girls talked with Xavier for a while, and everyone happily introduced themselves. Xavier told them that he and their mother had studied in the same college. Rose and Noah stepped outside to talk. As soon as they left, Xavier asked Livia to go out with him. Livia couldn't refuse, so they went out together and sat at a cafe to eat. At that moment, Xavier's old friend Norman arrived. Xavier was happy to see him, but when Norman saw Xavier with Livia, he quietly walked away. That night, Xavier came to drop Livia off at her house. After saying good night, he left. Meanwhile, Rose was getting ready for bed. At that moment, Livia entered the room. Before going to sleep, Rose said to her mother, "I like you and Xavier together. If you both want to get married, I have no problem with it." Hearing this made Livia very happy. The next day, Livia and Xavier went out again. While they were out, they ran into Rose, who was there with her friends. Seeing Rose reminded Livia of what her daughter had said, and she shared everything with Xavier. She told him that Rose would be happy if he married her. That night, Xavier came to Livia's house again and thanked Rose. Since it was late, Rose was preparing to sleep. After thanking her, Xavier went to Livia, and they spent time together in one room. This time, Rose wasn't asleep yet. She quietly listened to their conversation from her room. Late at night, Xavier got up to go to the bathroom. As he passed by Rose's room, he noticed her sleeping. He gently adjusted the blanket for her and quietly returned to Livia's room. The next day, Rose's friend came over, and the two girls were happily dancing and having fun. At the same time, Xavier was leaving Livia's room with her. Livia was heading to the market, but Xavier was not going with her. After Livia left, Xavier watched Rose dancing, completely lost in the moment. Feeling uncomfortable with his own thoughts, he decided to leave and went to meet his friend Norman. Xavier asked Norman if he had ever fallen in love with a younger woman. Norman said no. Xavier was saying strange things that day, and Norman couldn't understand why. Xavier had come to talk about his feelings, but he couldn't bring himself to explain everything and stayed quiet. In the evening, when Xavier returned to Livia's house, he saw Rose lying on the sofa reading papers. Xavier sat nearby. Rose casually rested her legs across his lap, which surprised him. Her behavior felt unusual, and Xavier began to realize that Rose had feelings for him. Xavier couldn't take his eyes off her and felt drawn closer. Before anything could happen, they heard Livia's voice at the door. Rose immediately went back to her room. Livia had just arrived home, and Xavier's mood changed completely. That night, Xavier stayed at Livia's house. The next morning, Livia woke up early and got ready, while Xavier was still asleep. As she gently woke him, she said, "I'm going to church. I've left coffee for you." Xavier drank the coffee. Just then, Rose knocked on the door. She looked sleepy and stood near him for a moment. Xavier remained quiet, lost in thought. Suddenly, hearing a sound, Rose quickly moved away. Meanwhile, Livia was sitting in a club with her friend. Xavier was seated behind them. Livia's friend asked her how things were going with Xavier these days. Livia was about to answer, but Xavier couldn't control himself and came over, asking her to come home with him. Livia said she wanted to spend a little more time with her friend, so Xavier left the club and went to Livia's house alone. Inside the house, Rose was busy cleaning. Once again, they were alone. The moment felt strange and quiet. Rose still had cleaning to finish, so she continued working. Xavier tried to signal something to her, but Rose didn't fully understand and stayed focused on her work. Soon, she came closer to him while cleaning, and they started talking. Xavier suggested she finish the cleaning later, but Rose was tired and finally lay down near him to rest. Xavier was reading a newspaper at the time. Rose asked him what the news was, but instead of answering, Xavier focused on her. When Rose tried to get up and leave, Xavier stopped her. From that moment, a complicated bond began to form between them. Soon after, Rose felt uneasy and told Xavier that if her mother found out, she would be very upset. Xavier promised her that he would never tell Livia about it. The next day, Livia went out with her friend and sent Xavier home. Instead of going home, Xavier went to meet his friend Norman. While talking, Norman suggested that Xavier should simply marry a good woman. He gestured toward women sitting in the restaurant, but Xavier was confused. His heart was torn between Livia and Rose, and he didn't know whom he truly wanted to marry. When he didn't get any clear advice from Norman, he decided to head home. On the way, he saw Rose with her boyfriend. Xavier went over and firmly told Rose to go home. He was angry and clearly didn't like her boyfriend. After reaching home, Xavier tried to explain to Rose that she should stay away from that boy. Just then, Livia arrived. Later, the family ate together and went to bed. Livia spoke again about marriage, but Xavier avoided the topic. By now, his feelings had become deeply confused. That night, Rose couldn't sleep and stayed awake. After Livia fell asleep, Xavier quietly got up and went toward Rose's room. Since Rose was awake, they embraced each other. By accident, something fell and made a noise which woke Livia. Xavier became alert, but Livia assumed he had just gone to the bathroom and went back to sleep. When Xavier heard no further movement, he believed Livia was asleep again. Later, Livia herself needed to go to the bathroom. As she passed by Rose's room, she saw Xavier with Rose. She was shocked by what she saw. She quickly went into the bathroom and began crying. After composing herself, she stepped out, and at that moment, Xavier heard the door's sound and realized Livia was awake. He immediately left Rose and went to Livia. Livia was furious. She told Xavier that she had seen everything and that he had betrayed her. She ordered him to leave her house. Xavier tried to explain, saying it was a mistake and would never happen again. Livia refused to listen. Her heart was broken. But after Xavier repeatedly apologized, she finally forgave him. The next day, when Rose opened her door, she saw her mother standing outside. Livia spoke calmly to her and asked her to stay away from Xavier. She told Rose to forget what had happened the previous night, but Rose was convinced that Xavier loved her more, so she wasn't ready to listen. Livia then told her, "I'm going to marry him." She tried hard to convince Rose. Rose stayed quiet and listened without responding. The next morning, Livia told Xavier everything. After hearing it, Xavier said, "I don't love Rose. I only love you. I'll clear up her misunderstanding soon, and then I'll marry you." Hearing this, Livia trusted him again. A little later, Xavier spoke directly to Rose. He clearly told her, "I only love your mother. Whatever happened between us was a mistake." Hearing this, Rose became very sad. That night, Rose cried continuously because of Xavier. Seeing her daughter cry, Livia was also heartbroken and couldn't hold back her tears. The next day, Livia told Xavier firmly, "You have ruined the lives of both a mother and a daughter. Stay away from us." Xavier tried to explain that he truly loved her, but this time Livia didn't want to listen. She understood that for Rose's future, it was best to end everything. She broke all ties with Xavier so Rose's life could return to normal. A short time later, Rose's friend Noah was swimming at the beach. Xavier was also there resting. After swimming, Noah came over and started talking to him. She had liked Xavier ever since the day she met him at Rose's house. Noah invited Xavier into a cabin to talk privately. Xavier tried to resist but couldn't stop himself and went inside. From a distance, Rose saw them and immediately understood that something was going on between Xavier and Noah. When Noah came out later, Rose confronted her angrily and warned her not to meet Xavier again. Noah replied that she liked Xavier too and that he liked her back. Hearing this, Rose became furious, ended her friendship with Noah, and walked away. Later, Noah was at Xavier's place again, and the two were getting close. Meanwhile, when Livia returned home, she was shocked to see Rose crying. When she asked what happened, Rose told her that Xavier was a liar and that he was involved with Noah as well. Hearing this, Livia became extremely angry. She finally understood that Xavier was unfaithful. Livia decided that Xavier had to be stopped or he would completely destroy Rose's life. The next day, Livia prepared a plan and went to meet Xavier. She looked very beautiful that day. After some time, she stood outside Xavier's house and he was at the door. Xavier didn't realize that this would be their final meeting. They looked at each other and suddenly everything ended there. And with that, the story in Xavier's life came to an end.